I hate putting up holiday lights. You have to take a ladder out. It's always on a cold day. And if things don't work, you have to take them down again to put them back up. And if you leave your lights up year-round, your house is going to look very out of place. What if there was a better way? That's where the Eufy E22 permanent outdoor lights can help. But you're not limited to just Christmas time. You can celebrate plenty of other holidays from their selection of preset options. But don't think of this as just a gimmicky way to light things up for the holiday. You can also use them to keep an eye on what's important. And the best part is, you never have to take them down. I'm Wonder001. Let's get into it. To start things off, this is a sponsored review, and Eufy did send me the permanent outdoor light E22 for the purposes of doing a review. You can see from the box itself that you do get 100 feet of lights, giving you a total of 60 individual LED dome lights that you can use to illuminate your house in varying ways. But the lights themselves are not the only thing that you get in the box. So let's take a quick look at what else we get. Opening things up, right here they give you a bunch of information and the QR code to scan for a user guide. Left we have power adapter, control unit, accessories, light strip 2, and then light strip 2. Controller unit, power supply, and then one more set of cords. And then we have one set of our light strips. And there you go. We get a bag of lights. In the bag we have quick start guide, mounting, extra 3M sticky if we need it, measuring. That's it. Now that we know what we get, what's next? Well, that's setup and installation of the lights themselves. Let's take a look at what setup is like. This will be setup of the Eufy permanent outdoor lights E22. We have our basic 3-cable system. These will all be separate. Then we have an extra one right here. You have your power supply, which plugs directly into your power outlet. We have our connected power adapter. So this comes from a 2-prong to a 2-prong, which then comes over to your on-off or controller switch for the Eufy lights. And then from the 2-prong, this outputs into the 3-prong. And then in the setup box, you also get this, which is an extension cable, 3-prong to 3-prong, that will allow you to have a stretch of cable up to the lights where it's not actually lighting things up because you just need the cable to get up there. After which you can take one of your batches of lights, as you can see here. They have a little connection right there, 3 and 3, and for unused ones they have a cap to help keep the weather out, which I greatly appreciate. You're gonna then take your cable and match things up, so holes and prongs, and once you get that lined up, you'll see that kind of situate itself into place, and then you just twist to lock everything down. And now we have some lights that I can have in frame for part of the setup here. So first things first, I'm going to plug in everything, get that going, and those are going to start flashing. You're going to download the Eufy Life app, different than the Eufy Security, Eufy Home, or Eufy Clean app. Once you do that, you're going to select the plus sign right here, and we are going to say we have smart lighting, and it's letting us know connect, 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 which you've already done. And then we're going to push and hold 1, 2, and there it kind of flashed. So we're going to say it did flash 3 times, and there it has my lights. And we are going to select location, front yard, backyard, indoor, other area, next. Now we can control this with Bluetooth, which would be localized, or we can do this for Wi-Fi. I want to configure the Wi-Fi, and we're going to start configuring, and it's going to ask for my Wi-Fi name. So we're just going to do that real quick. And I have plugged in my Wi-Fi network credentials, and we're just going to let that do its thing. It says to keep device by a router, but the router's underneath me, so hopefully we're close enough. Oh, and here we go. It is successful. And there is an update, so we're going to do that and let this run. Once your firmware is done, you'll see the lights kind of come on over here. You're just going to select done, and now it's going to walk you through installation, kind of walk you through, letting you know you need a ladder, how you should have the power supply, clean the surface first. You want to have your measuring, because you want to have them at least 2 to 4 inches away from wall surface. Okay. Peel off the double back tape. They prefer if you drill them in to make sure that they really don't go anywhere, and then done. And there you go. I can connect over Wi-Fi or over Bluetooth. And that is setup. With setup out of the way, we move to installation. Installation is actually pretty simple. There is double-sided tape on the back of each of the LED light nodes, but there is some planning that needs to happen before you actually put these up, and that's because of the design of the power box and controller and the fact that this is linear. It goes one way, it doesn't split off. So you will have to do a little mapping of your own. Also spacing from where you're placing this close to the wall. You want to make sure that it's out at least 4 inches. You get a tool for that to help you figure out how far out you need to be. If you go out too far, you won't get the nice lighting effect that you're trying to get with these on your actual house. Yes, you'll get light from it, but it won't give you that pretty on the side of your house. As you can see here, I did this for the purposes of testing to see what the lighting situation would look like if you did not place it close enough to your house. They do go up fairly quickly, but also can be nailed into place, which would be a little more time consuming if you want to put holes in your house. I did not. I used a 3M tape. It's been holding up just fine. But now that we have these set up and installed, let's backtrack a little bit and look at the individual components that make up this system. First being the power supply. This is a step up from the previous version of this light system because one, this is an IP67 rated power supply now, meaning you don't have to get a separate box to keep this protected from the elements. It comes out of the package already ready to go. On either side, you can see screw mounts, so you can drill this into place. You are looking at a box that is 4 inches by 2 inches and about 1.5 inches deep. So in your planning, you're going to have to plan for that. You do have watertight connectors. As you can see here, the fasteners screw down and lock into place, preventing any water egress. And the length of cable that you get from the wall to the power supply is a decent amount, so you shouldn't have to run an extension cord. And then for the next portion, we have from our power supply another connection with a very generous length of cableage. And then for the controller, you get even more cableage. You are not going to want for cableage. And then we come to our controller box right here. This is going to act as the brains of the operation. This is going to connect your application to Wi-Fi to the lights. Aside from that, it has a simple on-off button. That's it. On the back, there's really no information except letting you know that the power supply is IP67 rated and that the lights themselves are IP65. I did not find anything designating an IP rating for this, but you can figure it's between 67 and 65, considering this also has to be outside. You are looking at just over 2 inches all around length and width, and depth about 1/2 inch. Notice that there is no way to mount this, connect this. You will have to use some of the double back tape or sticky mount to get this situated where you want it. It comes with such a generous amount of cableage that you don't have to worry about where this is, because honestly, you're not really going to be manipulating it via the on-off button all that often. In fact, myself, I just tucked it into some siding to get it out of the way. Coming to our LED string itself, you can see you have that same connecting port right there with a cover to help keep that water tight. The length of cable itself is 16.5 feet. So you get 100 feet in the box with this and then segmented into these 16.5 inch sections. The LEDs themselves are IP65 weather rated and UV resistant. The bulb has a temperature rating of -4 degrees up to 140 degrees Fahrenheit. The LEDs are also rated to run for 55,000 hours, which is something that you want in a permanent setup. You don't want to place this and have to take it down every other year or so. For the most part, 55,000 is going to be enough for most people. Coming to our LED itself, if we flip this over, it does have some 3M tape, but also a hole, so you could drill this into place if you wanted to. Coming up to our LED bulb itself, you have 3 different nodes. You have an RGB node, a warm white, and a cool white that can mix together colors to get you up to 16 million different options. Color temperature of this is anywhere from 1500 Kelvin to 9000 Kelvin, and you have 90 lumens of brightness per bulb. You do get 10 bulbs per 16-foot strip and 18 inches between each of the bulbs, giving you a total of 10 bulbs per strip. I will say that the mixing of colors that this can do is quite impressive, as you could kind of see I'm flashing on the screen now. And Eufy uses their Wondershare color blend technology to get you those 16 million colors. However, those 16 million colors that you get from the Wondershine color blend technology, well, it's absolutely useless if you don't use the application to interact with these bulbs. You also have access to Wonder AI light themes and WonderLink with Eufy cameras. There's a lot of controls that you get in that application, including over 80 preset lighting themes, or you have the option to create your own. So let's take a look at what we can really do with these bulbs. This is the application for the Eufy Permanent Outdoor Lights E22. We're on the main page here. Before we get into the actual cool stuff that the LEDs can do, we're going to talk about the app overall. Upper right hand corner, this plus sign, this is how you'll actually add something to here. So if you have more lights, that's how you would do it. Over here, there's going to be user information, things of that nature. Down here, devices, schedule, and then Lumio link. I am saying that horribly wrong, but these are very cool in that one, if I come here, they have schedules. And I created a schedule that every day at 1800 to 6 a.m., if I come in here, if it detects somebody on a specific device, it will light up my lights, which is awesome. But then you also have these. These are predetermined holiday lights that are these days, during these times, if you turn this on or off, it will allow you to run this specific scene on your lights without even having to set something up yourself. It's really cool. The fact that this is here and that you can add your own is great. You want to add your own, you come up here to the plus sign for schedule, and then you would create a name, create a date that it would run through, create the time, and then if you have a device trigger. So if I come here, that's what I want. So there's my devices, and I can set my mood. I'm not going to set one up this time. And then we have custom, so I can add a schedule, very similar to what I was doing before. And that's all under our scheduling. If we come over here to our link, this one is really cool in that I have firelights. What this will do is if one of my S3 Pro cameras picks me up, it will turn my lights on red at 78% so that I can kind of walk past my fire pit, maintain my night vision, and not be blinded. Around the corner there, hard to see in the dark, it's not focusing, but there's a camera. And that camera, once it picks up a person, tells the lights, once I get them to focus, to turn on red. That is the fire thing that I set up so that I don't kill my night vision. However, let's say we want to do a different setting. I would add an interactive scene, and we're just going to call this test and then devices. Well, we're going to say what is going to trigger this. So I'm going to say either one of my S Pro cameras and select confirm. And then what happens? Well, my lights here will be the actuation. And then what are we going to do? Well, I can select any one of those scenes that we talked about, but also that I'll show you a little later. But what I want is white lights to come on, and then I could set the brightness anywhere from 100% to 1%. I'm doing this so I can see what's going on. So I'm going to say 98%. Then I can select when do I want this. I can set up a daily routine, or I can set up a specified date range. So just like the 4th of July, Father's Day, things of that nature. I'm going to say this is a daily routine, but it's only going to be on the weekends, and select confirm. And then what time? This I feel could use a little fixing, because you have to select. And then I could say sunrise, sunset, but if I wanted to make a change, I have to come into customization and then select save, and then go back to come in here and do customization, and we'll save for 6 a.m. And then lighting duration, how long do I want this to stay on? Well, since this would just be to help me get into my house, I'll say 2 minutes and then confirm, and then up here, save. So we've just configured another lighting scene that will use a camera to tell what's going on. And you could toggle these on and off as you want. Coming back to our devices tab, if I select into my device in the upper right hand corner here, this is our settings for this. There's not a lot of settings to go over. So here you can see the power status, the length of the string that I'm currently using. I have 15 meters, which is just shy of 50 feet. If I need to add to this, I can, and then I simply power down and power up the light string, and it will figure out how long it actually is. That's really cool, because I started off with just testing with 2 and then added more. And then here we have lights disabled setting. This is an awesome feature, which I have to turn on the lights for, but it will allow you to black out any lights that you don't want actually lit up. So if you have this going up the side of your house and don't want those lit up, you can select, don't do this one, don't do this one, don't do this one, don't do this one. And notice right here, there is the power indicator, and then it goes. So one is always going to be the LED closest to your power source. And then you can select save if that's something you want to actually use. Here we have installation space. This is just letting it know where it's actually going to be put into place. And then we have music flow. What this will allow you to do is, based on music, it will allow the lights to blink based on sounds and things. And you could specify different cadences and brightness. I'll show you what that looks like here. After music flow, we have general. This is going to be the name of your device, the Wi-Fi connectivity, a mounting guide if you haven't gone through that already, and then about this device. Sensitive information in there, won't be showing you that. And then firmware. If you need to upgrade your firmware, that's where you can come to do it. But now we come to the really important part of this, the cool thing that the Eufy permanent outdoor lights can do, and that's all this. Let's take a look. Here we have the important screen of our application, which is actually the control for the lights that you're seeing in the back. Right now it's on 100% and turned on and just randomly cycling through stuff. This magic dice roll right here, if I select this, it will randomly send a scene to the lights behind me. And you can see on the application itself, it actually gives you a fairly good idea of what the scene will look like on your home. It does wrap around to the back, so there is more going on back there. But here, if I do the magic dice roll again, it will send another random pattern to the house. And if I like this for whatever reason, I can select the save icon right here, so it's something that I can come back to later, or I can select edit and it will allow me to make changes to the particular random thing that was sent back there. Now we have light show mode on, which is this infinite icon right there. If you don't want that, you could turn that off. But here we have one more throw of the dice. There you can see it's a little more subdued in its coloration. Now, you do have inspiration text, as they call it, down here, where you could pick something to get inspired by, or you could select the AI light chat, which will allow you to tell it something and have it create it in a pattern. So in my case, I'm going to do a space battle and select generate. And now the AI is coming up with its own idea of what this should be. Now, it is doing a moving pattern around there in the corner, and that feels very, very 4th of July-ish, but that's okay, because we can come in here and make changes to this. And if I do something like generated for New York Jets right there, and it is showing green with a little hint of blue in there, not entirely sure why, but there you go. And now we're going to try text destroying the One Ring, because I'm trying to avoid all sorts of copyright. So there we go. This is what AI would determine destroying the One Ring would look like. So you can have some fun with this in creating your own scenes via AI. It is not as much of a gimmick as I thought it would be, and you can get some cool inspiration from this if you wanted to, but that's all under this all section right here. If you wanted, you can select ambient, and then from here, there are preset ones for holidays, seasons, special events. So we're coming up on Halloween where I am. So if I come in here, this is one of the Halloween themes, and then this is a second Halloween theme. So it's a little more orangey, and third Halloween scene. So you got purples and oranges in there. And then if you're into Christmas or maybe St. Patrick's Day, there's lots of options, but the holidays is only one of them. You also have seasons. So I could say, here's winter, bright white lights, things of that nature. Early autumn, you're going to have oranges and things like that, but you have events as well. So you can pick, what do you want? Well, here, show me some barbecue lighting. Well, there we have barbecue lighting. Maybe we want a birthday party, and there you can see all the lighting in the background there. You also have emotion. So how are you feeling? So let's say I'm feeling warm. So it's going to show you kind of a warm pulsating light right there. Maybe I'm looking for soothing. You're going to see greens and things of that nature now, but you can see just how bright it is lighting up the side of my house. Here we have healing. So we're going to say sunset glow, showing you not the car driving past, warm fireplace. So there's lots and lots of options. You want to do something like a flag? Well, here you go. What do you want? They got a few flag options. So here we're going to do United States. So this is going to be should be red, white, and blue, but it's starting around the back there. Here we have for children, if there's a specific thing that you'd like. So here we have Magical Academy, avoiding all sorts of copyrights, much like I was before. There you go. Fantasy Castle. So lighting all around there. And then last but not least, they actually have pre-programmed weather ones. And here we've got a rainy situation. So here's one of my personal favorites, which is the thunderstorm, which would make an excellent addition to the Halloween theme. So there you can see all that just under the ambient. Now, they do have settings for daily. And what that's going to do is that's going to allow you to do steady on. So there's your warm glow. Here is your cool white. And notice just how much it's showing over there on the side. And I'll show you in a moment what white looks like. And you can see this brightens things up quite a bit. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to turn these off so you can't really see what's going on the side of my house here, but I'm talking using lav mic, so you should still be able to hear me. And this is roughly where it is. And if I turn it on, you can see the difference. Now notice it goes into a weird mode first, but then here's our white, cool white, warm. So it brightens things up. This is all at 100%. It brightens things up so much that you can use these not only as a seasonal light, but you can use it as like a spotlight to help keep an eye on things that are happening around your house. Now, the last option that we have right here is personal. And if we come into personal, this will allow us to make changes to our lights. So right there, you could see I just did 2 lights, and maybe I want that one and that one. You see them turning on over there? I'll make the closest one over there turn red. You can select individual lights that you want to turn on. You can create your own patterning. Notice right now I have it on the steady, but if I wanted to, I have a moving pattern. I have a strobing pattern, cycling, starlight, which will just fade them in and out, twinkling, and then a breathe. And I'm not turning on a lot of them, so you kind of actually see what's going on. And then you have, if I come back up to this one, they have an effect speed. So there we go. I'm really moving things along with that. And then if I come back to our daily really quick and put on our warm, I can show you the difference of intensity. So if I turn down the intensity, you get an idea. Don't have to have them blaring as bright as they are all the time. But that is everything that you can do for the Eufy Permanent Outdoor Lights E22 using the Eufy Life app. One more magic dice roll because I really enjoy using it because it comes up with some weird things. And that definitely could be one that I could use for Halloween. One more dice roll because it's very addicting to do. So I will leave you with that as an example of what's capable using the application and this light string. One of the things that I like to do with anything that actually utilizes power, even if it's an LED bulb, is check its electrical usage. And what I could say for the 50 feet of lighting that I currently have on my garage, when idling, meaning it's not on and it's just connected to Wi-Fi, it uses 1.2 watts. When I try using red as a baseline, because that generally uses the least amount of power, at 50%, that uses 8.1 watts. When I crank red up to 100%, that jumps up to 20.2 watts. When I go over to a warm white at 100%, it's 34.8 watts of power. And cool white at 100% gives me 34.3 watts of power. Now, if you're using effects, the effects can vary in their actual lighting sequences and intensities. So in my case, I tested Halloween 2, which only uses 7.7 watts of power, while Christmas 3 uses 23.5 watts of power. Even with this solution having a lot of things going right for it, there are a few cons that I want to bring to your attention. First being, there is a lot of planning that you need to do beforehand putting these up. You can't just say to yourself one day, I'm going to throw these up, because if your power supply is in the wrong spot or you didn't measure correctly, you're going to run into a problem, especially if you start nailing these in. The fact that the lights use a different app than my security cameras, than my vacuum cleaner was a little off-putting because now I have 3 different Eufy apps for 3 different product types. I wish there was a way to consolidate that a little more. With the triggering between camera and lighting effect happening, there was a little longer of a delay than I would have expected with something like this, especially since I'm using the newest Eufy Cam S3 Pro. My last con or request would be some sort of splitter that could be done at the control box, because if you don't put these up right, you have to replan everything. So in my case, for my testing, I have a power outlet in the front of my garage and a power outlet in the back of my garage. I ran these up the front of my garage and then around to the back of my garage. But now that I have thoroughly tested these and really like them and want to extend to the front of my house, well, now, in my case, I'm lucky in that I can just run down the front of my garage to that power supply, and then in the back of my garage where I just have one of these dangling, I can remove the cap that's in place and move the control box to the back of my garage. But if I didn't do that, and I even drilled through my house to do it, then I would be in kind of a hard place. So some sort of adapter or splitter or the ability to move things around would help this. If not, make sure you do that planning up front. Even with the extra effort that it takes planning to put these up and then to actually put these up, I will say I thought they were going to be more of a novelty than anything else, but have found myself, while not using the holiday theming lights all that often right now, because I'm only just getting into my holiday season, but I've been using them as ambient light and spotlights for an area of my house that is generally dark, and I really don't want it to be dark there since I have woodland creatures like foxes and skunks and possums running through that side of my yard. These have actually been invaluable to me, and the fact that while it does take a little longer than I would like to trigger the lights on from a camera movement for a person, that has been great. Because I have a spotlight that has a hedge that grew up in front of it and is absolutely useless to me to detect motion, to turn on and brighten up that side of my house or the driveway. These do that for me and have the versatility of, well, now they're my Christmas lights. They're my Halloween lights. If you've been on the fence about getting permanent outdoor lighting, I'm going to say, yes, it might seem like a novelty, but it actually is a very good feature to have for your home, if nothing else for the security of it, and then to be the envy of your neighbors come the holidays, not being out there on a ladder because you already took care of that when it was warmer out. Because of that, I can strongly recommend the Eufy Permanent Outdoor Light E22. If you're looking to pick this up for yourself, I will have a link in the description area below where you can pick it up for yourself. If you appreciate the time and effort that goes into making a comprehensive video like this, make sure to hit that like button to help other people find the video as well. If you like what I'm doing here and want to be notified of my next review, hit that subscribe button. Still not sure if this is the right lighting solution for you? On screen now, you'll see 2 other reviews I've done to help you make a more informed decision for yourself.